Letters to Lisa. Recording 4. Compilation 3. Henry. Well, I've been a bit down this week. So my youngsters have been finding me my favourite things. I can't believe they found my favourite sweets. I thought they'd been discontinued back before the jump, but apparently the lovely people on the internet like to recreate things. My teeth won't thank me, but the sherbet has been making me feel less homesick. It's odd, being homesick in your own house, but that's what being out of your time feels like. Anyway, I thought I'd crack on with another letter to help me feel productive. Dear Lisa, you don't know me, or at least you won't remember me, but my name is Henry Saunders. You knew my grandfather, Vincent. He told me stories of his dearest friend Lisa, who saved him from a monster in his head. You were his hero, and now, in my hour of desperation, I ask that you be my hero as well. Grandpa Vinny died in 1912, just before my 12th birthday. I told him I dreamed of moving away from London, and he regaled me with tales from his seafaring days. With his words of inspiration, against my mother's wishes, I moved to America when I turned 18. That was 2 years ago. My lifelong passion has always been for art, putting pen to paper and creating characters and scenarios beyond the mind's comprehension is something of wonder to me. So, with a new life ahead of me in the States and a dream of becoming an artist, I got a job illustrating for a local newspaper in San Francisco, the Daily Gate. I was a genuine artist for a real American newspaper. We printed in black and white to save money on ink, but I didn't mind. Within a year, after drawing for other people's political cartoons, they moved me to the funny pages, and soon after that, I was illustrating my very own reoccurring comic strip. It's ironic, actually. The cartoon was called Vinny's Sea Escapades and was about an overly paranoid sailor named Vincent. I'm sure you can appreciate where I got my inspiration. Every once in a while, I'd get a monthly bonus and use it to call back home. I couldn't talk long because of the fees, but Mama always spent the whole time disapproving of my drawing, and especially hated that I was using her father as a basis. I didn't care though. All those years of stealing my pencils back from the lockbox in her room had paid off, and I'm sure you'll agree that Vincent would have loved to have had a cartoon about him. I've been working at the Daily Gate for about 2 years since I moved here and began drawing for Vinny's Sea Escapades just a few months ago. Ever since then, the strangest thing has started happening. At first I thought it was nothing but a manufacturing error, but it has progressed into something far worse. A month or 2 ago, around the 3rd strip of my new cartoon, the ink I used to illustrate failed to dry. I left it overnight, assuming the ink was just poor quality. But when I returned in the morning, the page was still wet. In fact, the ink looked like it had leaked away from my drawings and contaminated the whole page. It looked like an amorphous Rorschach painting. I headed straight to the store, bought new ink and drew it all over again. But the same thing occurred. No matter how long I waited, the ink simply wouldn't dry. It stained my hands, my arms, and every bit of furniture it touched. With my deadline approaching, I quickly drew the cartoon in pencil and turned it in. My editor wasn't thrilled, but he let it slide, and the next time I tried to draw in ink, the issue was resolved. I thought the whole ordeal was weird, but I chalked it up to a few bad batches and went on with my life. That is, until a month or so later, when I was penning the 6th iteration of Vinny's Sea Escapades. After inking the cartoon, I promptly fell asleep at my desk. It wasn't an unusual thing to happen to me, but what happened when I awoke sure was. While I slept, I dreamt of a beach, a sprawling white sand beach with rhythmic waves crashing against the shore. But it was a calm, followed by a storm. Slowly, a blackness infected the sand. The beach's pristine colour began to get overrun by jagged lines of inky black sludge. It crept from the tree line and made its way to me as I fell back into the now thrashing ocean. as the vicious liquid mixed with my new aquatic cocoon, I awoke with a start. I jumped from my desk and stood up. My fight or flight had been activated by the dream. After regaining composure and re-evaluating my surroundings, I sat back down. I looked at the page where I had illustrated the cartoon before my nap, and I was shocked. The page was empty, completely blank, and completely void of the ink I laid upon it. I was baffled. I wondered where the ink could have gone, and how it could have disappeared. Then I looked down, and it dawned on me. It had not disappeared. I looked at my arms and my hands and saw an infection of jet black ink darting up and down my extremities like intense, vile and obsidian varicose veins. Ink pulsed through my arms and looked like bolts of darkened lightning. I screamed and rushed to try and wash the ink off, but I soon learned it was not on the outside. The ink had somehow made its way under my skin and was now a part of me. I closed my eyes, hoping I was still asleep. But no matter how hard I wished, I was still awake, and I still had this inky infection inside me. For a full week I didn't leave the house. I feigned illness and told my job that I had the flu. As far as they were concerned, I would be dead before I ever made it back into the office. And to be honest, my mindset wasn't much different. I tried everything. I tried burning my skin, cutting the ink straight from my veins, and even dousing my arms in acid. Yet nothing stopped its presence, and nothing stopped its spread. When I bled red. However, a dark black fluid muddled the colour and turned it a deep maroon. But when the fluid left my arms, it didn't rid it from my body. I thought about seeing a doctor, but I thought about what they'd do to me if they saw me as I was. At first, I was able to wear long sleeves to go to the shops, but the inky veins had spread up my neck and onto my face. That was a week ago. Which brings me to last night, and why I am writing to you, Lisa. The infection, if you even call it that, has left me weak. It's taken over my whole body, covering my skin head to toe in a spindly, zagging web of onyx lines. Last night, my eyes pooled with ink, and my vision changed. I am still able to see, but the world is so dark now, so cold and solemn. Last night, I sat alone in my apartment, as I had been for weeks, neglecting to call my family or see my friends or go to work. I sat alone, and I peered down once more at my changed arms. When I looked at my arms, where this had all begun, the demonic varicose veins had reformed themselves to spell out the word Henry. I looked on in disbelief as the lines of ink in my arm formed my name and then unformed it. The words on my arms changed. Slowly, painfully, and word by word, the ink laid out a sentence, tearing my insides as they rearranged under my skin. It caused agony, as if it tried to communicate with me. The words disappeared, and the ink reformed itself into the veins. The excruciating pain of the sentence being spelled in my flesh caused me to pass out. I awoke the next morning. This morning, I fear what comes next. I fear I'll lose sentience, and this infection, this thing, this monster inside of me, will take full control. I doubt this letter will reach you in time, but please, Lisa, save me like you did my grandfather. I wish to see the world beyond these years. I wish to grow old. It cannot end like this. Please, help me, Lisa.
I think I've read a similar letter before. I don't
think it's déjà vu, worryingly. Think they're connected. Well, I'm so sorry, Henry. If I could get a message to you, I'd tell you to stay clear of artwork to do with your grandfather. Steer clear of the sea and try to surround yourself with others so that they can verify what is actually occurring. I'm so sorry, Henry. Phew, well, I think I might need some more sherbet after that. I'll have a think about what might save Henry. Not that I could help the poor fellow. That was Letters to Lisa, Recording 4, Compilation 3, Henry, written by Bri Powers, read by Caroline Lawrie.